If you cover D.C. politics, you follow them closely. We have a new candidate for the mayoral position. It is Carol Schwartz. Now, she's a familiar face to many people who've covered politics in the district for some time now, but she sort of had, been out of the political scene for a while. She's on the line right now to tell us why she wants to be the next mayor of the District of Columbia. Well, Carol, what is that reason?
Well, hi, Brian. Hi, Larry, and hi, listeners. I have not been in political life for 5.5 years. You may recall in 2008 I lost my primary bid and then came back and ran as a write-in and actually got 40,000 people who wrote my name in, bigger than the town I grew up in. And but I, sort of had a forced retirement. And as I've been sitting on the sidelines, I've been becoming more and more concerned. Of course, I've seen the good things that have happened, and a lot of which I laid the groundwork for, and that is, the development. We got our taxes down. We worked hard to make the city a welcoming place for business and for residents, and, that worked. And so I've loved seeing the development and the thriving and the growth and, to curbing, the people fleeing, but actually people wanting to come in big numbers. But I've also been very concerned about other areas, and that is, as we have all this money, we still have all these social needs, and they don't seem to be getting any better, and I don't think they're getting their share of time and attention and money, whether it be homelessness or drug treatment or senior care. So all those things have really concerned me, and we've got the money now to do it. It's not like we can say, we would do that, but we don't have the money. I've also been very, very concerned about the ethics lapses, and it's just not one or two. It's been more.
All right.
And I worry about the reputation of the city.
Well, okay, but you ran in 86, you ran in 94, you ran in 1998, you ran in 2002 for the office of mayor, and you didn't win. Why do you think you can win this time?
Can I answer? One thing, I was a Republican, and in those days, Democrats outnumbered Republicans 11-1. I am now it's only 9-1, but I don't have to worry about it because I'm an independent. Late last year, I became an independent, which I think really exemplifies what I really am, and that's a true independent.
So what's different about you now that you're an independent from when you were a Republican 8 months ago?
Well, I think it's more palatable for most of the D.C. population, which is about 75% Democratic. And as I said, I think it exemplifies what I truly am, which is a true independent.
Well, it certainly takes a lot of independence to be a Republican in Washington, D.C., so I'll give you that one. Carol Schwartz, let me ask you that I want to talk to you about issues, but listen, this is a political story as well, and I got to talk to you about the political strategy here. You just noted the numbers here with regard to Democrats versus Republicans or independents in the district. You've got Muriel Bowser, who has a whole lot of money. She's the Democratic nominee. It's hard enough for a Republican or independent to beat that kind of political machine and power, let alone in a split race where there's two major independents running, you and, of course, David Catania. So how is this even possible? Aren't you really going to take votes away from David Catania and make it even harder for him to beat Muriel Bowser?
Oh, I think that I'm going to take votes equally away. I think everyone just decides where my votes are going to come from.
Hold on, you think there's a bunch of Muriel Bowser voters out there who, now that you're in the race, are thinking, I'll vote for Carol Schwartz instead of Muriel.
Not only think it, I know it. So please, go look at when I ran for mayor the last time, and that was in 2002, 12 years ago, my biggest percentage of the vote, which was 38 and 39% of the vote, because I only got 30% of the vote at that election, came from Anacostia, Ward 7 and 8. So I think you need to go down and look at my voting record and not just think what this gal who would be interested in this gal.
All right, but I hear that a lot of the people believe that the reason you got in is you just don't like David Catania.
Listen, I ran for mayor 1986, that's 28 years ago. So I have. That's the first time I ran.
Well, hold on.
I have wanted to be
You're avoiding the
mayor,
question. Do you or do you not?
Before he was an ingredient in the occasion. I think it's very sort of.
Carol, you and I go back a long way. I need to ask you that again. Do you have a dislike for David Catania?
I'm not going to discuss this. I mean, I'd love to talk about. I'm not going to.
It gets to the issue of motive of why you decided to get in the race. Is it about personal dislike?
I want to be mayor. You just gave my motive. I ran in 1986. I ran in 1994, where, by the way, I got 42% of the vote.
I would suggest that
I ran in 1998 and 2002.
I would suggest your reluctance to answer that question answers the question.
Whatever you want to think is fine with me.
Carol Schwartz, I promised I wanted to get into the issues as well with you, and I've asked every candidate, even back in the primaries, the same question. I think, in my opinion, one of the worst things about living in Washington, D.C., and if you ask most of the people, they'll agree with me, it's the problem with traffic and parking. It is awful, and I have heard nobody come up with a solution that would even get us close to solving the parking or traffic problem. Every time I ask somebody, they say, oh, we need more bike lanes and more people riding bikes. Carol Schwartz, please give me a better answer than that.
Well, it's hard. I mean, every major city has a traffic problem, and I'm kind of pleased we have a traffic problem because we've been discovered. So you just have to give yourself more time coming in and out.
That's your solution?
Oh, please. You say bike lanes, you don't like that. We can't manufacture. Yeah, I guess we could have helicopters that fly in.
Well, but to the that's true. We could.
Well, maybe
it's a no-fly zone.
But
to the parking
issue.
issue.
A city. We used to be pretty vacant, especially at night. You could run a cannonball down through the city and not hit anybody. And the fact we have traffic now is actually a good thing.
Let me ask you this then, because you were a Republican for so long. I want to know how you stand on the Second Amendment, because the gun laws in the district are absolutely oppressive. And frankly, if my daughter lived here, I would want her as a woman to be able to protect herself with a firearm. What about you?
I happen to I favor gun control because I don't want everybody running around with guns, but I also happen to favor the Second Amendment, and but yet the people of the District of Columbia don't want everybody to have a gun, and I agree with them.
Well, I would suggest to you, again, if I could just so humbly do so, that the people in the District of Columbia who have guns are not the law-abiding citizens.
Well, that's true everywhere, not just in the District of Columbia.
Carol Schwartz, this was fun, and it was your first time with us, at least since you've announced, obviously. We would love to have you back as this race goes forward.
Listen, I'm very available.
Excellent.
But I got to tell you, there's lots of excitement out there for me, so don't count me out.
No, I'm excited.
We're
I'm
not
excited
counting you
now.
out.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Carol.
And I'm here in a positive way, not a negative way. Don't forget that.